I have a little something. Did you hear that the fucking... I mean, I don't know if this will make it, but it's just a conversation thing. But did you hear that the Charlie Kaufman wrote a script and he has like Ryan Gosling in mind?
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm so stoked about that, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh.
White guy, wet dream.
Yeah, I was gonna say this movie sounds like it's meant
The
for
whitest
me.
thing
Yeah, the whitest thing ever. You know Emma Stone's gonna be in the mix.
All right. You want to talk about these movies in the order that we watched them?
Yeah, we can do that.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
We should probably do like just a little bit of like a hey, like this is a movie that is we're going to talk about some very triggering things, perhaps.
Yeah, this movie's
full of like suicide.
This
and like
comedy is very heavy.
Yeah, child molesting and rape.
Yeah,
and a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's a movie called Happiness. It came out in 1998.
Yeah.
Okay. It stars Philip Seymour Hoffman and a bunch of other people that I know, but I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Like you've seen them here and there, but
yeah,
can't really put your finger on what they've been in.
This is some thick paper this note's coming in on. I almost feel like I'm, and it's also folded in a way where I feel like inside of it should be whoever won an Academy Award.
Yeah, it really does, yeah.
Yeah. It says Happiness, the letter does. It's a big sad face emoticon, basically, and 7 out of 10.
So, Chris, what's your history with Happiness?
Friend of the show, Armand, plays in a band with me, Zilched, and we're good friends. Has just been telling me to watch Happiness. He told me it was like Magnolia, and I know what he means, but tonally it's not.
Yeah.
I know what he means because it's like an ensemble cast thing, and it's all these lives that intertwine and stuff. Yes, but specifically way different vibes. So my expectation going into it was just insane because as soon as it started to be like movie 43, but with like, or like not movie 43. As soon as it started to be like Wet Hot American Summer, but for people who are fucked up.
Yeah.
I was just yeah. What about you, Jew?
I'd heard of this movie.
Yeah.
I knew the basic plot of it and what everyone's getting up to and stuff like that. And that it's hard to find this movie, like legally, like it's hard to get
because
DVD.
Yeah, NC-17. Apparently, the director was unwavering about like we're not cutting anything out. And it just has a straight up NC-17.
I think it got sold when that happened, and it got picked up and was released unrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I just knew all that about it, and then you were like, I want to watch Happiness for the podcast. And I was like, really? And you're like, yeah. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of wish I had been in your position where I had heard almost nothing about it. Yeah, because stuff was happening, and you were like, oh my god. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I knew this was. Yeah. I knew what this man was about. Yeah. But also at the same time, I think I might have found it funnier than you, maybe, because of that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, I think a lot of this movie is extremely funny.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is so tough.
Yeah.
It's so tough.
It's an odd movie.
Yeah.
It's a very odd movie. It's a big ask on the part of the person who's made this movie to be like, come along for this ride.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a huge ask.
Hey, can I borrow 90 minutes of your time?
Yeah.
Can I ruin 90 minutes of your time?
Because spoilers, like our like one of our main characters is a child rapist.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is an awful sex pervert who assaults women over the phone.
We should call him a pedophile from now on. I feel like dropping the hard R rapist is kind of tough. You know what I mean?
Me no more rapist?
Yeah, isn't that kind of like a triggering thing to say?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, we'll go pedophile.
Okay.
So one of our main characters is a big old pedophile.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so much softer.
He's an active pedophile.
Active. Loose. He's a loose. He's on the loose.
He's on the loose.
Yeah. And then the other character is just a woman who gets treated very poorly
Yes.
by everybody.
And all these people are connected to these 4 sisters.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost like Punch Drunk Love.
Yes. And then we have their mom and their dad,
Yeah.
who are getting divorced but are not.
Yeah.
They're splitting up, but they're not getting divorced. I love
Right.
that. It's a great running joke through it. It's like, oh, you guys are getting divorced? Who said anything about a divorce?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys aren't together anymore. Yeah, but who said anything about a divorce? And I like that storyline. You know, like every time it comes
Yeah.
back, I'm like, oh yeah.
These
'Cause
guys.
I don't know if I'm like putting things where they shouldn't be, but is the dad asexual?
Interesting.
Because she's like, what, are you in love with somebody else? He's like, well, I'm in love with nobody. No. She's like, why, you don't want to sleep with me anymore? Is there someone else out
I just want to be alone.
And then that other older woman comes to him and she's like,
I'm Randy.
I'm Randy. I have a transatlantic accent and I'd like to sail the world with you. And he's just like, no, I
Yeah.
don't think so. And he just seems like sad and like he doesn't want to be around anymore. And he goes to the doctor and the doctor's like, you're as healthy as a bull, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to live to 100 at least. Just, be careful with the salt. And then I'll at the end of the movie where they're all having dinner, you just see him pouring as much salt as possible onto his plate.
Yeah, hitting it. We meet first.
So that's the lightest storyline in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We meet first the peeping Tom from Little Nicky.
I've never seen Little Nicky, but you're talking
You've
about...
never seen Little Nicky?
You talking about John Lovitz?
All right, okay, real quick. Next week we're watching Lahane and Lost Highway. But then the week after that, I'm telling you right now, my pick is Little Nicky. So get ready.
Okay, we can squeeze Little Nicky into next week if you want. We can do a little Nicky, a little Nicky segment.
Little Nicky with Nicky.
I don't like that, but go on.
But anyways, yeah. So basically, this is a great scene. I like this scene.
John Lovitz, where they break up the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, love so
She's
good.
basically like, hey, it's this isn't working out kind of a thing. And I love like he's like, oh man, I got you this like really specific like antique souvenir thing
that you mentioned on our first date and
Yeah.
I put an order in for. She's like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, she's like, I love this. I'll cherish forever. He's like, no, you don't get this. The woman I'm going to spend the rest of my life with gets this.
This
Yeah.
is a gift for somebody who loves me.
Yeah.
You're shit,
Yeah.
and I'm champagne.
Yeah, no, this is 10 out of 10. Great,
Yeah.
great opening. Great opening.
That started, and I was like, I'm going to love this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to love 100% of this movie.
Same.
And then I didn't.
Yeah, I will say, yes, I did. And I think that in my opinion, I think it dipped into fucked up a little too much.
Yeah, like it's
one of those things where like it ended up devaluing it because it was just like, all right, now you're just kind of feel like you're being edgy.
yeah, it was really tough because I think, I mean, just talking over the
Big picture.
big picture of the movie,
The forest.
every storyline of this is tough to watch.
Yeah.
But like that's the point, and like that's where the comedic moments come from and stuff like that. And none of the comedic moments are like, no one's making a joke. It's just
Yeah.
people being themselves, and that happens to be pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the lizard, Doc Connors from the
Yeah.
original Spider-Man movies. I don't remember the actor's name, so I'm gonna call him Dr. Connors.
I like to call him the lizard.
The lizard is just tough,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
necessarily think it adds to the movie.
No, I think if anything, that was the one that probably should have gone.
It sticks out the most.
Yeah,
from the
I
rest
don't
of
think
them, and
it's
the thing-
cohesive to the rest. Because like
Yeah.
like, let's talk about like the woman who's dating one of her students at the
Joy.
Yeah, Joy. That's her name. Yes, yes.
She's the one from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Works
her
with
thing
John
is like
Lovitz.
that men are just being very, very shitty to her. She dates like a Russian student of hers. He like steals her guitar or something, and then goes over there and finds out that he has another girlfriend and like a son, like kids or something like that. It's just not comparable to a guy who's pedophiling boys' butts.
Yeah, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman, who like
Even his is like it is like aggressive verbal assault of women, but it's just not comparable to.
pedophilia.
Although, again, it is one of those things where, like, I'd be lying if I said, like, there's the scene where he's trying to drug his whole family so he can do the sex. And it is genuinely funny, like, the frustration of, like, the kid just being like, nah, I'm not in the mood for ice cream. And then be like, well, what can I make? And he's like, I kind of want a tuna fish sandwich. And he's like, he goes and makes it. And he's like, aren't you going to eat it or whatever? And he's like, nah, I think I'm going to eat it in a little bit.
Like I was trying to figure out how to bring that up. Thank you for just saying it. But yeah, that scene's arguably funny because it seems like it seems like something I could see like Steve Martin in, you know, but it's a man trying to have sex with a young child.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It does. The whole thing sucks.
The whole thing sucks.
Yeah.
And like besides that, where I'm like, all right, I think I can see the comedy in this. The rest of it is just really, really, really tough.
Really tough. Yes. I mean, if you just want to get into that, yeah, like there's like, this about him, that he's a pedophile, and then his son's coming to him about the fact that he's like, hey, kids are talking about masturbating at school and I don't come.
Yeah. And he's like, well, son, and like,
do you want to watch me do it?
Yeah. Oh, awful shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just doesn't add to any of the movie, and I know that's what the rest of it. None of the storylines necessarily add to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's all just like slice of life stuff. But man, I don't want to. I'm not saying like, nah, we should take this out, but it's just.
It's a big ask, is all I'm gonna say. It's a big ask. It's a big
ask from me.
Yeah. I will say like Donna is in this movie from Twin Peaks.
Yes, great. Love to see Donna.
Yeah, and I like her relationship with Joy, where she's just like, God, I have everything you've ever wanted, and it sucks. I wish I had your shitty life.
People don't understand. People ask me why I live in New Jersey, and they just don't understand. I live in a state of irony.
And I do like that, like Philip Seymour Hoffman ends up calling her, and she's like, hang on a minute. I want some of this freaky little freak. Because she does mention earlier, she's like, I've had Adonises who can play guitar and know, it's physics or whatever.
And she's like, yeah, she's
they're all hollow.
All of her books and stuff like that. And she's like, I've never had a traumatic experience happen to me.
Yeah.
And I feel like such a shit phony artist because of it. And this freak keeps calling her on the phone. She's like, oh, I'm going to call this guy back.
Yeah.
I'm going to get involved with this.
Yeah.
And then maybe one of my favorite scenes is when he eventually goes over there and she's like, no, come in. And they sit on the couch together and just, for what feels like 9 minutes, he's just slowly inching his hand closer to her on the couch.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes for sure. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman gets involved with a little side piece. There's a woman who's overweight and insecure who keeps coming to her door. His door, I mean. Informing him that, like, hey, like, the doorman died. We're collecting money, yada, yada, yada.
They cut off his penis.
Yeah. Eventually she lets spill a hard-to-watch scene where she's basically like, yeah, he raped me, and then I murdered him and cut him up into pieces and have been slowly throwing him away in our building's trash one bag at a time.
I believe the doorman is the director of this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, she has a fear of sex, doesn't want to be intimate, and so there's another little reoccurring thing, because the same thing happens with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He likes this outlet, but he doesn't actually like physical intimacy. He doesn't want to have sex when it's offered to him.
Yeah, it's
and I guess it's the same thing also with the pedophile, like, because I believe he's not being sexual with his wife at all.
I think they are here and there, but it's, I don't know. I remember them having a conversation about it, but I don't.
Yeah.
Remember specifics.
Perversion. But at least Joy gets to bust it up with the Russian.
Yeah,
that looks like some hot sex.
It looks like Joy
hot, consensual.
Getting in on it, but then he steals her stuff and asks for $1,000.
Yeah, and also doesn't tell her that he's using her as a side piece.
Yeah. I feel like there's one more character in this movie that we're missing, and I just can't think of it.
You talking about the son?
No, I was going to ignore him.
Why?
Because he's tough.
Yeah.
He's a big ask. Yeah. I love joke at the beginning right after the John Lovett scene where it's Philip Seymour Hoffman talking to his therapist. He's like, and I want to fucking have sex and fucking... Yeah. And he's just going on and on. He's like, and I just don't feel right. I don't feel like I'm secure or like anything's really... And it cuts over to his therapist, who is the lizard. And it just very slowly just fades into what the lizard's thinking. And he's like, eggs, wheat bread, regular bread. Gotta remember half and half. Gotta remember to get oil for the car. It's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to Philip Seymour Hoffman, I think, and I think you can still hear the lizard's inner dialogue going on over it again. Arguably the toughest ask for a laugh that got me is, and I don't even know if this part was supposed to be funny or not, but when you cut to the lizard talking to his therapist, and it starts with that dream of his where he's shooting up a park.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Also traumatic.
It's tough, yeah. He's shooting up a park, shooting everybody in a park. And then it cuts to him talking to his therapist. He goes, and that's where it ends. And his therapist goes, and how's that better than every other night? And he goes, I don't kill myself at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like,
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's just, I don't know how to explain why that's funny, but I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like, that's tough. That's a tough ass funny.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so I don't know. I'm racking my brain. Are we missing anything?
I mean, we have to be.
Have to be.
Like, there was so much stuff. I wrote so many James Bond notes, but I didn't write any notes on this movie. And
there's another character, the parent of the kid who gets pedophiled, and he's very concerned that his son is gay.
Yeah.
Which is a little, whatever. Anything else? There's the point where Joy, her colleague is confiding in her that she wants to sleep with her students, and Joyce like, I kind of am. It's right before she gets beat up at work.
Yeah. By Russian mans.
Yeah.
Sure, there's a sequel to this movie.
I did not know that.
It's called Life During Wartime.
Okay.
I think it might be a prequel. But everybody who's in this movie, every character in this movie that appears in that movie, is played by a different actor.
Okay. Interesting. Heard anything about it?
No. Just that it exists.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to see it, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Last night I was watching The Crow.
Yes, you do.
I noticed a couple things. One, Tony Todd's in that thing. Shout out, great actor. He's in the X-Files. He's also the Candyman.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Great actor. The second thing is, what movie were we just watching where the bad guy was like some old gruff voice guy, and we were like, where do we know him from? And I was like, dude, that dude's from the fucking Crow.
Oh, he's the cinematographer from Nope.
Yeah, he's in Nope. Yeah. And then there's the guy who's the Warriors come out to play, who's also in Twin Peaks.
Yep.
Yeah, there's that guy. And then I don't know, there's like two other people that I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how did all of these like really specific, cool ass weirdos end up working on this movie?
It's like what I was saying with Infinity Pool. We got to get less hot people and more cool weirdos into movies. They make it memorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want people in movies where I see them and I go, I want to draw that guy. Speaking of which, we watched James.
Oh, Ernie Hudson was one of them. Ernie Hudson plays the detective.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah.
I gotta watch The Crow. I haven't seen The Crow in so long.
Brandon Lee is Bruce Lee's kid.
Yeah,
just top to bottom. It's like, what the fuck?
You know what's funny about Brandon Lee?
What?
I cannot picture his face without Crow makeup. I don't know what it looks like.
It's weird when I see it in the movie. It's definitely weird. I guess we forgot to mention that John Lovitz, he unalives himself and blames Joy. Joy's not doing great about that. No. We should also mention that, like, again, also, and it makes sense because I guess their names would be close to each other in the phone book or whatever, so that's the point. But, like, before Philip Seymour Hoffman calls Donna.
I put that together, yeah.
He calls her sister, and it's again like this is a nice irony piece where she thinks it's this like blind date that she's supposed to be being set up on.
Yeah.
And he lies and says that he is, and then he eventually is just being a pervert, and it's awful. And yeah, I guess to wrap it up, it ends with a nice Last Supper. Everybody's at dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
And
another big ask. This movie ends on a big ask.
Well, I guess we should also mention that the dad finds out that his son has been pedophiled, and like the lizard's house gets spray painted with like, "Hey, serial pedophile," and like the family finds out. The police come.
The police come immediately.
Yeah.
He gets that phone call and he's like, "You're fucking dead," and he's like, "Okay, well, give him my best."
Yeah.
And then knock, knock, knock. It's the cops.
Real tough. Yeah, because especially it's like one of those things where like just like Hollywood crime story 101, like he's just making like the mistake of like, oh no, the Ronnie boy got raped, and they're like, we didn't say anything about the Ronnie boy, we just said it was your son's friend.
Yeah. No, I think they say the kid's name and he says the other kid's name on accident.
Okay. But anyways, so the scene, the movie ends with like this big, like, I guess they're in Florida.
I think it's a long time later. They don't say exactly.
They're all having dinner together. And, remember how I mentioned how the little boy with glasses can't come? Well, he comes, and then he comes inside, and because of his inappropriate relationship with his father, he thinks it's okay to announce it to everybody that he's finally come.
You forgot about the dog.
The dog does eat the cum and then kiss the mom in the mouth.
A big ask.
Yeah.
Director Todd, last name I can't remember.
And I think we're also glossing over the toughest scene in this movie.
Yeah, I was doing it purposely, but yeah. Do you want me to do it?
If you'd like.
I wouldn't. But
Okay. Basically, it's the son confronting the lizard and being like, "Hey, do you pedophile?" And him being like, "Yeah." And then
Did
he's
you
like,
pedophile? Oh, yeah.
"Yeah." And then he's like, "Would you pedophile me?" And he's like, "No, I'd jerk off instead."
Yeah.
Yeah. So, big ask. Very big ask.
It's a big ask for us
Yeah.
to watch it.
Yeah.
Bigger ask to ask an actor to say this.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Gigantic ask to have a child actor say this.
Big ask for two parents of a child actor
Yeah.
to have your son look at a grown man and say, "Would you fuck me, Dad?"
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This movie gets an F.
For real?
No. I'd give it like a... You remove the lizard, this movie gets an A from me. You put the lizard stuff in it, I get it, but it drops it down to the B minus.
E minus?
B
I
minus.
was gonna say. I gotta put it in like the. I'm gonna give it a. I'm feeling a strong. I think D plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I legit...
No, I liked some jokes in there. For
Yeah,
sure.
no,
It's
no.
just I
Oh,
don't.
no, yeah, I'm not trying to change your mind on how
Yeah.
you feel. I just like
It's
how
a big ask. It's such a
it's
big
just
ask.
such a
It's
big
such a
ask,
big
yeah.
ask.
You know what?
I don't want to change your mind either.
Undecided. I'm undecided.
That's what I
don't-
was thinking. I was thinking
yeah.
like, cause like, yeah, do I put it in the?
Just
I
like
don't
this
know
movie, I'm unrated.
Because you do have movies in your I don't know what to give this collection.
Yeah. I think this movie's good. I cannot
Recommend
recommend it to anybody.
No. It's just one of those things
And I'm
where it's
not
like,
going to watch it ever again.
yeah, that's the thing is I'm not going to see it again probably, but also two, yeah, I couldn't imagine myself recommending it. But three, if I know somebody who's seen it, is one of those things where it's like almost like the schoolyard, like, oh fuck, you've seen that, dude?
Yeah.
That's a big ass.
Yeah. I'm not going to recommend it. I'm not going to see it.
But if for some reason it comes up,
I'll never forget about it, though. I'll think about it probably once a month for
It's
the
like
rest of my
9/11.
life. It's much like 9/11.
and then we watched another movie,
Yes.
which I remember less because that just kind of happens with these movies.
Yes, it's my favorite thing about a James Bond movie,
Yeah,
is that they are dad movies.
yeah,
So these movies are meant to just have on.
yeah,
And the plot, I wouldn't say is secondary, it's tertiary.
yeah.
And it's not the point, and they're just, we'll get into it. Read the letter.
Yeah, we will. From Russia with Love, 1963. Undeniably a James Bond movie. From Russia with Love is undeniably the second one. Filled with more trains, cleavage, and helicopter fights than you can shake a stick at, James Bond's Russian Escapade is a great film to watch while you're doing literally anything else, like a podcast or music or any other activity you can do passively while you fold your laundry or fill out some forms you need to attend to. 6.5 out of 10. 0.5 less points than happiness.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. I'll just go ahead with my history and then we can get into yours.
Chris, what's your history with From Russia with Love?
You keep telling me like, let's just try to watch the best James Bond movies, and I'm like, I want to see everything that has ever had the name James Bond spoken in it. So then we watched the second one because it's
Chronological.
and I like chronological. Which Donald burned me on that shit. Made me watch Puss in the Boots: The Last Wish. That's a sequel. Didn't see the first one. Never saw Puss in Boots.
I
Didn't even know.
I did after finding out last week that you did two without me.
Yeah.
I went back and listened to the Donald episode.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen Goodfellas.
Yeah. That was the Evan episode.
I know because I haven't seen Goodfellas.
Oh,
so
so you didn't listen to Evan. You listened to Donald's, but you haven't seen The Last Wish.
Yeah, but I don't care about that as much.
Oh, okay. It's a good one. I mean, it's fine, but it's good.
I think we should highly consider adding Donald as just a third host of this podcast. I think he's very funny. I think
Yeah.
you two have a good rapport. And it made me very happy.
We go way back.
Yeah. Almost to the beginning.
Yeah.
But it made me very happy listening to it when I think you guys brought up Chris Miller, the director.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, Chris Miller. I went, oh yeah, he directed I can't remember off the top of my head, but no, I got it wrong. I thought he was someone else.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, he directed Clone High and Spider-Man. And then you went, I don't know who it is. I usually have a guy here who knows stuff like that.
Very funny. Good bit.
But yeah, the Clone High and Across the Spider-Verse and
Yeah.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, but it's a different Chris Miller.
Oh,
Puss in Boots.
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Nerd. What's your experience with Russia with Love?
It's a James Bond movie.
Yeah.
I've seen some of this. I have just like the haziest memories of him getting stabbed with a shoe knife by the old woman at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
And I think, and the helicopter fight.
Okay.
But in my mind, I always thought I've seen the last little bit of North by Northwest, but it turns out I've only seen the last little bit of From Russia with Love.
Yeah.
Which I love that.
Yeah.
I love that they're like, hey, helicopters, I think, have just been invented. So why don't we do that North by Northwest scene with a helicopter?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, my history with this movie is just like the rest of the James Bond movies. Is I've seen it, I remember some of it, and I just like them.
Yeah. You started talking about North by Northwest, and I was like, when did that fucker came out? 1959.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. North by Northwest. That's crazy. Crazy. Great movie.
Haven't seen
North
it.
by Northwest. Yeah, I love North by Northwest. Love it. We loved Vertigo. We watched that on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
give it
Hitchcock pilled.
I give it a D. Remember?
Oh, really? Did you? It was a bit though, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Hitchcock pilled. I like Hitchcock. I think
Yeah,
he's
I'm
good.
behind on Hitchcock. I've seen Vertigo and
There's a lot that I need to see, like Rope or like Strangers on a Train. Yada. But digress.
But yeah, I don't know about you. We watched Dr. No 5 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. The first James Bond movie. I was pleasantly surprised by a lot of this one.
Yeah, I think it's a much better movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Much better movie.
There's still stuff in it that's just hokey and I love and feels like Adam West Batman type stuff.
Yeah.
Like I love when James Bond goes into the office. There's just a man holding a folder that just says secret on it.
Yeah.
Or Inspector at the beginning is talking and they're talking about training their operatives, and this one guy's like, his training and the training and indoctrination we give him is working wonderfully. Just dumb shit like that. And you get Spectre and Blofeld in this one. I think the first appearance of a bad guy petting a cat.
Dr. Evil.
Exactly, yeah. I think late.
I had that good bit. I don't know how to set it up where you were like, do you know who he's played by? And I was like, Sean Connery.
Yes, and it took me a minute to get it. I was like, oh, that's funny. That'd be cool if they did that. Oh, Austin Powers.
Yeah. I'm 100% just forewarning. If there are words coming out of my mouth, it's from the Wikipedia page, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't... You know what I'd like to do?
Huh.
Instead of, like, reading a Wikipedia page?
What?
Let's just use our goddamn brains to try and remember what happened in this movie.
Okay, let's go. I know for a fact it opens up... This reminds me of Master of Disguise.
Yes. I forgot about that. So I'm so glad we're together on this. Go on.
It reminds me of, because they like, kidnap his dad or whatever, and they're making him put on masks.
Mm-hmm.
And, break into places. And this lawn looks exactly like a lawn that I remember seeing him. But anyways,
we get James Bond running through a maze. Maze.
Yeah, he looks ghoulish. Literally ghoulish, yeah. I was like, what the fuck is up with this one? Is this like the Empire Strikes Back thing where like the sequel's always darker or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And then a man murders James Bond?
Mm-hmm.
But then they take the mask off. It's not James Bond. And then a bunch of people are there, and there's a bunch of lights.
It was a training mission.
Yeah.
For
because they're training Spectre.
Special Executive Council.
Terrorism.
For terrorism, revenge, and extortion. We got it.
Yeah.
We got this.
Yeah. I'll never forget the terrorism isn't there.
I'll never forget special. Because it's S&P. And then immediately after that, we see...
He's on the beach. He's macking on a honey.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He's macking on a honey. Is he in a boat?
I think they're just on the beach.
Okay, they're just on the beach.
They go back to his car phone. And he's like, this is business. Be serious. And she's like, he can't come to the phone right now. And she's like, disregard him. Or her, or whatever.
Yep.
Then they go to the office, and
go to
he
the
does
office.
what? He throws his hat out of the hat rack.
Yes, and he's just singing.
So unimpressive.
Yeah.
It's like 5 feet.
Yeah,
he does it every time, though.
Yeah, and Dr. No, he does it across the camera has to move to follow the hat, and he nails it.
Yeah. It's cute, though. It's cute. I like that, like, despite being, like, a womanizing, like, you know, just man who does whatever he wants, he's still got, like, funny little things like that.
Yeah, like
I wish there were more, though. I wish he was a little more endearing in that sense.
Yeah, I do like when everybody like stops and looks at him though when he does that. Like everyone's like, "Hey, business."
I'd like
happening
more
here.
of like an unassuming James Bond, like a Columbo. Like he spends most of his time doing shit like that.
Yeah,
But it's like not one of those things where like people are they actually think he's an idiot. It's just one of those things where like people are doing the thing where they're like, why are you being silly right now? He is still competent and very good at his job, but nobody ever assumes him. They're always just caught off guard with like, why is he being a goofball? I want a silly James Bond, just slightly silly.
I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
Eventually with Roger Moore, I believe his are like campy.
Yeah.
But I think for
I just
most
would like
of
him
the
to crack a
time,
joke at an inappropriate time or something, you know?
yeah, I like that most of the time he's the exact opposite of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Where he's not like, oh, incompetent and unassuming, but actually a very smart guy. He's the world's worst secret agent. He walks up to people and goes, "Hey, here's my name twice.
Yeah.
Don't forget it."
Yeah.
And-
Also, here's exactly why I'm here.
Yeah,
and then they
exactly.
tell him exactly why they're here. The spies are giving away too much information in this movie. Like, I'm going to fast forward, but there's the scene on the train. It's great. It's a great fight scene. The lights go out. It's beautiful. It's great.
insane,
It's
yeah.
amazing. But just before that, they monologue, which is fine. I mean, it's fine. It's a story. You have to get that information out there. But it is exactly funny because it is like you were saying a second ago. Like what? Both movies so far, what has James Bond actually done?
Exactly.
He just
Especially in this one, I think
Yeah.
he just kind of is there.
He's just in a situation, and then he finds himself out of the situation, which is another thing that happens. Like I know because I'm familiar with Goldfinger. Like he gets kidnapped for that movie,
Yeah,
and then rescued.
Yeah, that movie's about other people.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, I feel like James Bond and all the other spies in these movies
Yeah.
work like... I watched an episode of Curb the other day, obviously. Larry David is in line to vote for mayor,
Yeah.
and he taps the guy in front of him on the shoulder. He goes, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, what's up?" And he goes, "Who are you voting for?" And he's like, "Oh, so-and-so." And Larry goes, "Great, I'm voting for the other guy. So our votes kind of cancel each other out, right? Why don't you get out of here?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, sure." I feel
Yeah.
like that's every spy in these movies. Like,
Yeah.
hey, man, listen. I'm a spy.
Yeah.
You're a spy. Our spying kind of cancels each other's spying out.
Let's go have a martini.
Let's just go shoot at each other for a little bit.
So he goes to the office, and they basically tell him, "You got to go to Russia, babe." Right?
No, he goes somewhere before Russia, doesn't he?
Cool.
He meets with that guy with the beautiful eyelashes. Where is that? Is that Russia? You know exactly.
No, I don't.
Oh my god! It's just
the
like
fuck are you
the dude
talking
he's with all the time in this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a movie from 1963. How beautiful could his eyelashes be that you caught that?
Oh my god! I said it out loud. I said, "Chris, if this guy's eyes were on a different person, they'd be beautiful."
It's a 60-year-old film. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just funny that you've noticed the eyelashes of all.
I don't know how you didn't. But anyway, he goes to Russia or somewhere else.
With the man with beautiful eyelashes.
I love that before he gets
That
to
sounds
the
like a
beautiful man.
name of a James Bond movie.
It's we'll get there. I'll get to the guy in a second, but I love Q shows up. I don't think we saw Q in the last one. I
Okay.
don't even know if it's Q in this one,
Okay.
but he gives him the briefcase, and I love that in the last movie. No gadgets,
Yeah.
just his spit
Just
and
his-
hair
yeah, love
and
it.
dust.
Yeah.
And in this one,
There's a blunderbuss in this suitcase.
he's like, "Hey, here's the most gadgety gadget I've ever gadgeted." And
This
he's
thing's
just
got a
like,
million bullets.
It turns into a transformer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a suitcase with like knives and
Guns and
guns
gas.
And then, anyway, he goes to the man with the beautiful eyelashes. It's the guy whose wife wanted to sleep with him, but he didn't want to. Do you not remember that?
No.
He talks to this guy, and they're like, "Hey, here's the plot of the movie."
Are they best
Here's-
friends?
They're best friends, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
He goes and he talks to this guy, and he's telling him what this movie's about. It's just that Russians have bomb. I
Right,
think that's
gotta
what this
stop
is.
bomb.
Gotta stop bomb.
Sure.
He goes, "Okay,
I
great."
can understand that. I'm a simple man.
Yeah, great. And like their relationship is a little contentious, the two of them. Like there's some back and forth, and James Bond's like, cut the shit. And he's like, don't talk to me like that. And he's like, I'll talk to you however I want to. I'm blah blah blah. And he's like, okay, you're no pushover, and neither am I. We're gonna get this done, whatever. And then it cuts to a woman laying on a bed, just like biting her necklace, and she's all seductive and stuff like that. And she gets up and walks over, and she's like, honey, won't you come to bed? And it's the man with the beautiful eyelashes. And that man does not want to have sex with his wife for what I'm guessing is because he is so concerned with the fact that he was sexually attracted to James Bond earlier in the day that he's like, I don't think I can lay with my wife.
Yeah.
And then him and James Bond meet up in a secret place to go to another secret place.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, no, James Bond, the only way we can get there is
If we hold hands.
by gondola. You and I have to ride a gondola together. And they take a very romantic gondola ride to wherever they're going, to this
sounds
little
great.
underground dock. Do you not remember any of this?
I remember the gondola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the time they're like pulling up in the gondola, the two of them are laughing. They're having a great
Yeah.
time. They're friends now. And I'm like, I hope it works out for the two of these guys. And then I don't know what happens after that.
Neither do I.
Oh. And then he takes them to the dock and they go to the Romani fight?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of, they do say the gypsy slur a lot.
Oh, okay. They sure do.
They do. And also, just a little PSA, if you don't know, to say that someone gypped you is a reference to that slur as well. So be on the lookout for that too. It's no different than saying someone Jewed you out of something. So, fun fact.
Thank you. Now I know.
Well, I meant it more for the listeners also. So if you're listening, stop it with the gypped. You did not get gypped. That's bad.
Yeah,
Don't say
start
that.
saying Jude is what Chris is telling you. You can cut that out.
So the two women are fighting over a man?
Yeah, I think so. I have written down before that happened, it blew up purple.
Yeah, something happens, like a bomb goes off and it blows up and the light from it is purple for some reason.
Yeah, and it made me laugh because
I was like, that blew up purple. I've never seen anything blow up purple.
I was just in the other room, I think, making a sandwich, and I just heard Chris go, it blew up purple.
And I should also mention, I don't know what he does, but somehow there's someone at this like Romani camp where he becomes somebody's son, James Bond does. This guy loves him so much that he's like, you're like a son to him now.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah.
I'm nervous because my notes stop at a point
Yeah.
very soon.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of movie left.
Yeah. We eventually meet, as you mentioned earlier, the bad guy, Dr. Evil, and also he has like a German sidekick who reminds me of the parody woman in Austin Powers who runs the militant wing of this Salvation Army. Very funny joke. She has the shoe knife.
Yes, because I think yeah.
There's also
I
the
saw
very
this
sweaty
woman-
man. He has his plans to kill James Bond.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
guy with like the kind of buggy eyes.
Yeah, but what's his plans? He wants to kill James Bond. What's his deal?
He's gonna kill him for Spectre, but the way he's gonna do it. You mean the bug eye guy or the blonde guy?
Bug eye guy.
Okay, he's sending blonde guy.
He's sending blonde man.
Yes.
Okay. So
Who's
the thing
also
that-
with We Forgot Lady.
yeah.
Blonde
But Lady is she's a turncoat. She ends up on James Bond's side.
Yeah, I gotta find out her name because it's probably a sex pun.
And also, it's like a little like computer in a box, like a briefcase that they're after, right?
Yes.
Called like the Linux machine or something.
Mm-hmm.
Linux. And they acquire this
Tatiana Romanov.
pretty easy. They acquire this.
I don't even remember where they get it from.
I feel like they get their hands on it pretty easy, and then they spend a lot of the movie like trying to train hop and stuff like that to get away from people who want the box. Also,
Okay.
everybody wants the box.
Everybody wants this bomb.
Does it control bombs?
I think it tells you how to make bombs.
Okay.
Actually, I could be getting this mixed up with The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Okay.
But either way, I think it's the same plot. Remember when they shoot that guy through the window?
No.
I think it's after the... Yes, this insane fight happens. That goes on for so long, and so much is happening. And it's like, I think the standout part of this movie is this fight, and then the fight on the train. Mm-hmm. This fight is just like a big action, like, it reminded me of a Western.
Are you talking about like, when James Bond is just there while a million people are fighting?
Yeah, and he's just there, like, shooting in every direction that he can.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was, like, very impressive, because this movie came out in, what, 1963?
Something like that?
Yeah. And, oh my god, there's just, for all the movies I've seen from the 60s, there's a lot happening here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whether or not you like action movies, for this being a movie from 1963, I think that was the appeal of James Bond movies,
Yeah.
where they're the, first movies to have, like, big action set pieces like this. And, like, you usually see like one or two of these things in a movie, but like, yeah, there are like 7 movies worth of things going on just in this fight.
Yeah.
And then that's done, and then they go, hey, these 2 women that were fighting, they're your wives now, James Bond. And James Bond's like, okay, I guess if I have to, I'll have sex with these 2 women. And I don't know if they even do. They just kind of give him a massage and then hang out with him in the morning.
Yeah. He does become someone's son.
He does become someone's son, and I think someone shoots someone, and they want revenge, and Beautiful Eyelash Man hurts his arm. So he wants that guy dead. And so they track him down. And you remember he lives in that building, and his window is the mouth of that woman painted on the side of the building. You remember this?
Yeah, they shoot him through the mouth, yeah.
And James Bond goes, hold on a second, and like opens up his briefcase and builds a gun for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It takes a very long time. What's that about? What is this scene about? I don't know how it relates to the rest of the movie at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have answers for you.
And I don't know what happens next.
Yeah. Neither do I. I know that we're at the train-ish almost.
I don't know if we are.
Well, they have the box. I know they have the box eventually. And he's with a woman.
He's with a woman.
What's her name? Roma Tomasi?
Tatiana Romanov?
Okay.
And then blonde guy shows up on train.
Yeah.
And he's stalking him and then goes, oh, jolly-o, partner, I'm from the CIA or whatever. And
right.
EBIA, cowboy, we're in on this together. I don't know if he says he's from the CIA, but he pretends that they're on the same side.
Colleagues, yeah. He's like, you're not, you're Spectre.
He's like, no, you're Schmersh. And he goes, Schmersh? No, I'm Spectre. And he's like, ooh, Spectre, it's real. Blah.
Yeah.
And then they fight, and it beats ass. It's just like really well shot, and it's really fast, and it's really frantic, and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it has like
action-packed.
It has like a lot of energy and like the camera movement. It's kinetic, yeah. It has camera movements, and like the cutting is like really like it feels like the Bourne Identity. It does not feel like a fight you'd see in a movie from the 60s. It's insane, and I love it.
Then they escape the train. This whole elaborate thing where they hide in a bush for a second. They know about this plan from the blonde man about how there's going to be like a truck that's going to take them somewhere or whatever. So also she's been drugged, James Bond's friend, and he like runs over there. He knocks out the gentleman who's driving the truck and like ties him up with his belt and then puts him in the car. Then gets the lady, throws her in the back of the car. Then he drives.
Man died
drives the car. Also could have left that man there. Spoilers, what he does do is drive him an undisclosed amount away from that place and then take him out to sea and make him jump into the water in the middle of a lake.
Yeah.
I.e. he drowns him.
Yeah. Just because he can.
Yeah. But yeah, basically what happens is, that helicopter attacks. It's just him. That's just a helicopter just flying around like the Green Goblin, dropping bombs. James Bond eventually downs this Black Hawk. And then they, after that, are on the boat. And they're riding the boat. And they're getting chased by those boats.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about this.
Yeah. And he like lets loose all those barrels and shoots them and it goes kablooey.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it ends.
Okay.
With
a shoe knife.
Right.
She shows up as cleaning lady.
Yes. Because we see the Dr. Evil. And you think Bug-Eye Man's about to... No. You think that the German woman's going to get murdered. But instead it's Bug-Eye Man who gets murdered.
Yeah.
She has poison tip knife also.
In shoe.
And yes, so then we cut to hotel room, James Bond, and his new girlfriend. And yes, German woman's pretending to be house cleaner to steal computer box. Doesn't go to plan though.
Yeah, so she holds like gunpoint.
Yeah.
And then James Bond struggles to wrestle an old woman, and it's very strange. Like she's getting at him with her shoe knife, and he's like, and Tatiana has to shoot her, and it's like, James Bond,
this is an old woman.
You are a something.
You're old man.
You're a full grown man, and this is a very small little lady.
Yeah.
Little old lady. Just throw her. Just pick her up and throw her.
Yeah. I think that's James Bond number 2 in a nutshell.
That's James Bond number 2.
Are we going to go for our rankings like we did with like the Friday the 13th?
Yes, I was going to say, I have Friday the 13th-esque list of questions for you, but I can't remember them, so I'm going to come up with them now.
Okay.
We'll rank them.
We'll rank them first off. It's From Russia with Love and then Dr. No.
Correct.
What about you?
Same.
Okay.
Second thing. Chris,
Yeah.
how old is this man?
Do you have the actual answer?
I believe...
I'm going to say Sean Connery is at least 36.
I think... He's 33.
Fuck. I was close, though.
I
went high. He looks old.
Rank the movies. How old is this man? Rank the title.
From Russia with Love is definitely better than Dr.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're not going to do songs yet.
No.
Because they're not really incorporating the songs. From Russia with Love is in this movie.
Yeah.
But it's just on a boat while someone's driving by. Oh, also, I forgot to point out, when James Bond gets to the hotel, he's just checking in. He's just walking over to the lobby like, there's room for Mr. Plinkett or whatever his name is, and you just hear bum 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 bum, and it almost feels like one long shot of that to him walking into his room and just checking behind things in one really long wide shot. But while he's like, by the time he's in his room, it's like it's just blasting at full. It's the loudest I've heard anything in a movie ever.
Yeah, it's funny how it's just not really treated like a theme. It's just like, yeah, that's a bit of music we use.
Or is it like, look how impressive it is, this man suavely walking into a hotel and checking behind paintings.
Yeah.
We'll rank gadgets eventually, but we all know.
Oh, we all know. It's the fucking hair trick that he pulled.
Yeah, it's a hair and then briefcase.
Yeah. You know, not trying to be a fucking dork, but yeah, I'm always going to go for like the most like bare minimum, just straight raw ingenuity is always going to get points over some crazy gadget. Sorry. Hair might not get dethroned unless he does some really clever shit. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion. Everything after hair I will rank based on how badass it is.
Yes, everything will be plus or minus hair.
Yeah.
And again, this is going to be difficult for the next couple movies. Rank how hot this James Bond is compared to the other one.
This Sean Connery, I feel like I wanted a slice of first Sean Connery more.
Absolutely.
I don't know why, but I wanted a slice of that one more.
You see him shirtless a lot in this, more shirtless, but for some reason, just 2 years ago, Sean Connery did it for me.
Yeah, he seems a little bit thinner for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
That's what I love about these movies. I'd be saying that they're dad movies. James Bond, with the exception of Daniel Craig, when he takes his shirt off, is just some guy's dad. Like, he's not out of shape, but he's just
normal.
It's that 60s in shape where it's like no definition to anything.
Yeah.
He's just
like looking at old athletes and you're like, dude, you're just a 40-year-old guy.
He's just here. He's just not fat.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Do you got any James Bond list questions?
No, I thought Gadget was a good one. That was definitely, that had to happen. Song will be good eventually. No, I think we're good.
I'll think of more.
All right.
I'll try to think of more.
Yeah. I wish he had a sign off. Like he said something like 007 out or something.
I mean, he's got a lot of them. There's just like a new one at the end of every movie.
Really?
I thought Christmas only came once a year. Those kind of things.
And that's that, Mattress Man.
What a view to a kill. Oh, sorry. Do that again.
Yeah, I was just. And that's that, Mattress Man.
I'm so sorry.
If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,